Okay, thank you. You're welcome. That was great. Let's see. I'm going to jump right in. Just there's four poets who came forward to want to do some poems on nature. That's Storm, Robert, Robin, and Debbie or Deborah. And so we're going to start with Storm. We'll go in that order. And if Storm, if you're ready, then why don't you do first? We'll go start with 7 minutes, as we said, and you can present your poems. Good. Turn on the light there, Storm. That's good. I can see it in the back. You're looking better, brighter. Are you on?
Hi. As I mentioned earlier, I also do a lot of political poetry as well, and people.
Storm, you must have hit mute because you're not being heard.
I unmuted and then it remuted when I opened my video for some reason. Anyways, as I mentioned earlier, I also do a lot of political poems and spiritual poems, and you can check out the People's Music Network for Songs of Freedom and Struggle, peoplesmusic.org. Some of my past works are there, along with all sorts of other wonderful artists. And we have song swaps and poetry swaps for members in the future. But it's nice to read some nature poems because it's sort of an area I don't read poems in all that much these days. Blackberry picking song. Wish I had a bucket, wish I had a can. I could carry more berries than I can in my hand. Wish I had sweet cream in a big old bowl. Guess I'll have to eat these berries whole. Wish my shirt were heavy and the sleeves were long. I'm paying the price for going picking wrong. My hands are stained, so are the pants I wore, yet I'll be back tomorrow to pick some more. Wish I had sweet cream in a big old bowl. Yet it's sure a treat eating blackberries at all. Stilled life. Apple trees like arthritic hands reaching for the sun's copper are tired of the white drops of salve that coat their branches. Their only dreams are to bend without breaking, to stand with their trunks and roots saluting the doctored air. Thought for Jack and Jill in the pulpits. One never knows what is hiding under the hood till one looks. Thought for Jack and Jill in the pulpits. One never knows what is hiding under the hood till one looks. Monarchs migrating. The monarchs are migrating south for the winter. In clumps of hundreds they fill the air like orange-black confetti falling in ticker tape parades. Monarchs migrating. The monarchs are migrating south for the winter. In clumps of hundreds, they fill the air like orange-black confetti falling in ticker tape parades. Bird calls. Bird calls in the morning wake me early to native cries of memory. Bird calls. Bird calls in the morning wake me early to native cries of memory. Cloud burst. Air slobbers, leaving shadows of icicles painted on white granite. Cloud burst. Air slobbers, leaving shadows of icicles painted on white granite. The coming. Hens clucked, kicked ground, pigs oinked, cows mooed. Nature gave cesarean birth to thunderstorm. The coming, hens clucked, kicked ground, pigs oinked, cows mooed. Nature gave cesarean birth to thunderstorm. The thunderstorm approaches. Gray clouds hang dark, heavy, waiting to break open. Tanned, bare-backed farmers stoop in fields, picking the harvests. Flies buzz loudly, burrow into hair on their heads, under their armpits, taunt them from between cabbage leaves. Sounds are accentuated. Cows line up at their gates to be driven to their barns. Horses neigh wildly. Nervous dogs bark. The sky blackens. The air tingles. The thunderstorm approaches. Haiku. Was the kind of sky that had someone painted it, teachers say was wrong. Was the kind of sky that had someone painted it, teachers say was wrong. Spring harvest. I know my mother will scream and dance if she finds frog's eggs inside my pants, inside my hat, my socks, my cuff. Oh, do you think I've got enough? Oh, how they slide and squish and ooze between bare toes inside my shoes. Yet there's a jar behind my door, and I can keep them there, I'm sure, 'cause everyone will think them swell during tomorrow's show and tell.
That's just about your time, Storm.
Okay.
You got one more.
Yeah, one more. The mystic politicized. Leaving his cave, the mystic discovered New York City and turned around only to find his home was a condo and they'd strip mined the mountains. Furthermore, it's harder to reach Samadhi with bulldozers roaring in the background. Unable to obtain inner peace, he began to organize. First, he levitated the workers' tools, then he entered into the machines and caused breakdowns. Dividing himself, he lay down in the path of earth movers. Becoming one with all and nothing, he caused thunderstorms, sent lightning bolts into executive offices and miniature tornadoes over surveying crews. Focusing his thoughts, he bent nails, melted steel supports, and toppled cranes. Already the flagman called in sick. A dozen carpenters quit their jobs. Yet these were only the beginning. Tomorrow he's allowing the animals speak. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Storm. Okay, Robert, you're up.
Thanks, Paul. So I love the prompt, Lisa. I love the idea of trying to find the essence of a land trust. So I have lots of every Saturday I am out in the woods. That's my cathedral, and I'm a metaphysical poet. So I write a lot of nature poetry. But the idea of choosing a specific place and trying to get at the essence really excited me. So the first place is a couple miles away from here. It's called Pierpont Meadow, and it's a land trust owned by the Audubon. And it's my favorite place to go for all 4 seasons. Bare feet on the grassy paths, deep connection, altered perception. All 4 seasons speak truth, yet spring births unparalleled joy. This temple, a conduit between worlds, sky and earth, spirit and environment, treading softly, aware of each step as grass gives way to pine needles. Tall pines arch slightly, creating a tunnel, a portal to silence, introspection. A zephyr whispers through the forest, weaving a blanket of quietude. Evergreen scent is sharp, clean, slicing through my dull senses, awakening a longing for something I cannot begin to name. The only sound heard is the language of birds, fleeting and musical, like an interlude. Around the bend, a stream meanders through marsh grass and cattails, flowing into a conduit under the path. It continues on to the waiting pond. Wildflower field is just waking up from its winter mowing. Bees, bugs, and dragonflies weave their mystical pollination patterns. A hawk glides slowly by, reminding me to seek the heights. Taking nothing for granted, I bow my heart in gratitude. Now the trail forks to the right. A path through pines will reach the pond. Walk slowly past the lady slippers, their fragile beauty already fading. To the left, we'll loop around past the sunning beaver's dam. Hemlock, pines, birch, and beech share the forest and the trails. This sanctuary breeds community, everything exactly as it should be. Here in this moment lie all moments, thrumming in blissful harmony. Here the gestation of spring births the exuberance of summer, exploding into the colors of fall, which lie down and sleep in winter. Cycles, seasons, changes, the dance continues unabated, patterns, rhythms, circles, within and without our lives. The poet's purview is to pay attention, to string together little synchronicities and lay them out for your inspection, to interpret each for your own needs. The second place, I love that place. I go there as often as I can. The second place is it's called Perryville Trace, and it's on Perryville Dam, and it's actually even closer, and it's also in Dudley. And I began writing this at the beginning of spring, and then when this prompt came along, well, that was the impetus to finish it. So it's 4 short parts. Trees grow, water flows. This is the sweet spot where time slows. Teeming with life, the marsh explodes with a delightful cacophony of sounds. Redwings caw to each other, full-throated cries of joy. Life calling to life to make life. A drake observes from his quiet spot in the channel, perhaps patiently awaiting his chance to impress. Marsh grass reflected in the slow-moving water, heading for the cataracts just downriver. I am outside myself. Spring has swelled my senses. Pungent and rich, the earth fills me to satiety. Patchwork of greens and browns, simultaneous passing of seasons. New growth sprouts from decay. The incongruity makes me uneasy. Everything living is dying, and all that appears dying will live again in another form, another time. Yet I long for solidity, security. The river flowing over the dam, background music for the marsh, bright red buds on trees, highlighted by overcast skies. What once was is no more, standing on the bones of my ancestors, aware of the rising and falling away. I am here now. And the last one, it was written just over the border, about 10 minutes down the road. It's just one road, is Riverside Park in North Grosvenordale, Connecticut. And it's on the French River. It's a land trust on the French River. And I went there every day for about 2 weeks, and I honestly feel that this poem the river gave me. So I thought I'd end with this one. It's called Susurration, which is murmuring. In a language all its own, the river speaks in susurrus, syllables, sometimes sibilant, soft slaps of waves over stones, sweeping sensuously across branches, swirling into eddies around corners, speaking in soothing textures, showing off its splendor, singing surreptitiously, but those with ears to hear. Thank you
Thanks so
so
much.
much. This has been a wicked lot of fun.
Yeah, Robert. Robin, if you want to jump right in. Thanks again, Robert.
Thank you.
Hi, Robert.
Okay.
Hi, Robin.
Hi. Hi. I'm Robin Morris, and so I had a chapbook come out recently in the midst of lockdown and quarantine. So this is it, and I'm going to be reading some poems from it. And I think you can see a link on the screen. Instead of my name, Robin Morris, I put my link to Robin A. Morris at Weebly.com. So if you were interested, you could go to that link to find the page where you can buy the book. And it would come to you, so you don't have to go to a bookstore or anything. So the book is not all nature poetry, although the cover, as you notice, is a sap bucket, and that is from right near where I live, and one of the places I like to go, which is in Amherst, North Amherst. So these poems kind of cover a lot of different places where I've been, including where I grew up in New Jersey, where I lived in New York City, and then the more recent ones cover or deal with here, and those are the ones that I'm going to mostly read from now. So the first one is called Welcome. Child, old and heavy with knowledge that began the day you were thrust into this world, listen. A branch is tearing itself from its tree, flinging itself onto forest floor. Jays squawk displeasure like wives on the hurricane news, holding up boards and bricks to patch the emptiness opening up everywhere. Meanwhile, on my block, a house grows on a wooden frame. The one I live in is for sale. All that remains of its earlier inhabitants, a series of notches on a door lintel, marking the height of someone who stopped in '87 or moved away. If I could amass all the data on these trees, I would warn birds to secure their precarious nests. I'd sing like wind, but there is no wind. The ground with its litter of leaves registers no response to the newly fallen limb. This is the welcome you have yet to fathom. The next one is called Smut Creek. This is the creek which has always collected itself. These are the fibrous bits of thistle. Nobody fishes here. That cluster of rushes looks like a genius. Messy hair, bright ideas shooting off in every direction. I know exactly what I must do to be happy, but I can't be bothered. Tangle of root, cement slab, oak heaving up through old foundations. Ants crawl over slime traced with patterns of more soggy stems, matted leaves. I have let this happen. Creek bed, teach me not to fear tick or snake, but to watch the water bug with perfect love. Let me stay here till a busload of biologists clambers through, numbering me with the stinging, the succulent, the creatures who need no forgiveness. Okay, this is called Greylock. Midway up this, the tallest hill for miles, I almost didn't notice the imposters hidden among birch and oak, cloaked in vines and mist. Like the others, they grow toward the sun, but I see their brown trunks are metal, rusting beneath peeling green paint on some, red paint on others. Relics of abandoned ski lifts emerge suddenly, giant skeletons trapped in time. I see my childhood flit among them, part of the distant past when these ruins were erected fresh from the foundry. I hope to follow their example and merge back into forest, releasing all ambitions, dreams of swift ascent. let's have time for two more. Limitations. This one begins with an epigraph from Flannery O'Connor. Our limitations are our gateways to reality. Skin, nails, hair. If dropped from a height, this body breaks. If opened, bleeds. If walked too far, thirsts, tires, and yes, whines. Weeping and complaining, of such there is no limit. Top shelves, always out of reach, always contain a prize. On sunny days, my shadow refuses to leave me. Inside my body, like nesting dolls, the shriveled bodies of mother and grandma crouch, stripped of cancerous organs. Once in another century, those parts provided food and shelter. Meanwhile, mouth chews and swallows, interrupting ethereal pursuits. Aided by gestures, this same mouth and tongue praise. The God for whom I have taken up pen speaks too quietly for my ears to tell words from river hum. Nearby is a gateway of splintered, weathered wood, separating field from field. Cattle graze at it, then look back to their work, grass chewed to manure. My hands could open the gate, keeping them in my pockets. I walk beside the fence. And I'm going to end with sticky truth. Sap buckets are up again, clinging to maple bark the way Doc Harlow's monkey hugged its dry-teated carpet mother, because, as the experiment proved, we all need to cleave to something soft, whatever it secretes. Despite their yearly extractions, these maples keep growing. Me, I had to stop some years ago. Wind blows through my veins. In another, more solid life, I pour sap into a vat, keep the fire lit, and stir, trusting gravity enough to believe that the buckets are filling nicely, each warming degree shaking saps flow loose without even trying to be metaphorical. Seekers after sweetness, are we any more than tree and bee parasites, worshiping what feeds us? Thank you.
Thanks so much, Robin. Thank you very much. All right, and we'll end with Deborah.
Hello. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, we can see it. And speak up a little bit so we can hear you better.
Okay, how's this? Is this better? There's a little delay, so sorry about that.
No, that sounds good.
Okay, my first poem is called Dragonfly. Levitating above Lake Mattawa, a buzzing 1,000 triplets behind my neck, turning geometric stealth maneuvers up, down, diagonal drag. You are a glittering king dragonfly, iridescent green and blue, sparkles loudly, so colors speak your royal hue. Woven wings, are they spinning? You are hunting. Yet from my floating stance, I see a dragon dance. Okay, my next poem's a little longer. It's called My Fairy Moss Lair. On special occasions, I like to enter my fairy moss lair. Down there, I have a glacial stone bestowed upon me by the queen of the fairies herself. She messages me with hummingbirds who are accustomed to their hourly dose of clear sugar water that hangs from a red glass bottle. This red glass bottle is fused from the coveted ruby glass that enchanted villagers in a Slavic region long ago. Who knows why they possess an otherworldly gleam in their eyes? The magic red bottle came to me in a dream. When I awoke, it hovered in the air on an iron hook, designed to look like craftwork from 1704. There are legends, many, many legends, that say the door to Fae is fickle. One might easily lose one's way, even if one has lived on land for 16 years or more. Anyway, the Queen of Fae messages me by sending a hummingbird who loves sugar water from the magic red bottle fused from ruby glass. On this particular day, the deep drumming of hummingbird wings beats through my malaise in an instant, for she senses when I am mentally vacant. Never knowing quite where I am going, I accept direction as an obedient puppy tramples over dried branches and is never far from its master. My senses become my own again, guided by my regal friend. Light slices white clouds against eggshell blue. The moss is electric somehow. Solar pockets of power light up varying shades of green. So many shades of green. Emerald, shamrock, chartreuse. Rivulet becomes glowing absinthe as I claim my mossy velvet adorned stone. So I feel it is my place, my charge. I am a steward of this land, this fairy moss lair, revealed to me by buzzing hummingbirds who like to drink sweet water, absolutely can't get enough, beguiled by the stuff. Thank you. That's it.
Wow, thank you, Deborah.